All right, we're going to go over how to do some scale drawing stuff. And we're going to start off with some definitions. So let's start off with the definition of a scale. This is the relationship between the measurements on the drawing compared to the measurements of a real object. That's the scale. Scale drawing is the actual drawing that represents something that's too large or too small to be drawn to actual size. Now, the distances on a scale drawing are always proportional to real life, which is why we actually use proportions when we're trying to find actual lengths, which we will get to in a little bit. So here's an example of a scale drawing. This is a map, okay? Right over here, this information, that is going to be called our scale, and that's the ratio of a given length and on a drawing to the corresponding actual length. Okay, so in this case, it says 1 inch equals 833 feet. So 1 inch is your scale drawing. That's 1 inch on the map, is equal to 833 feet. That's in actual life. Okay, so that would be considered your scale. So sometimes you're going to be asked to find a scale. So let's look at this first example here. It says on a blueprint, the length of the wall is 5 inches. The actual length is 85 feet. What scale is used for the blueprint? So a scale looks like this, where you have the drawing equal to the actual. So I'm going to write that down. Drawing equals actual. So you reread this sentence, you'll actually be able to tell what units they give you in the drawing and what units is the actual. So in this one, it says the length of the wall is 5 inches. That's in the drawing. The actual length is 85 feet. That's actual. Now, when you write a scale, it always starts with the number 1. So to get this to be number 1, we're going to divide both sides by 5, because 5 divided by 5 is 1 inch. On this side, we have 85 divided by 5, which is 17 feet. So right here, this is our scale, and it's 1 inch on the blueprint is equal to 17 feet in real life. So that's considered our scale. Okay, let's talk about scale factor. This is different than a scale. The scale factor is the ratio of a length on the scale drawing or model compared to the length of the real object. So to find the scale factor, here's what you're going to do. You're going to write the scale as a ratio, the scale, what we just did, as a ratio, showing the scale length to the actual length. And I have a little formula that we use. The scale factor is equal to drawing over actual, because it's going to end up being a ratio. Then we're going to change the lengths to the same units of measure. That's important. We can't work with 2 different units. Typically, it's easier to convert the bigger unit to the smaller unit. That's just a little hint. And then simplify. So that's going to be your scale factor. That's different than a scale. All right, so let's do some examples here. Suppose a scale model has a scale of 2 inches equals 3 feet. That's the scale. This is asking for the scale factor. So scale factor can be found by using the little formula, drawing over actual. So drawing over actual. So in this scale, the 2 inches would be from the drawing, 2 inches in the drawing, is equal to 3 feet in real life, or 3 actual feet. Now, we're trying to find a ratio, and these units are not the same, so we're going to convert to the same unit. I'm going to leave them both in inches. Well, 2 inches is already 2 inches. 3 feet, you're going to multiply that by 12. 3 times 12 is 36 inches. So now I have the same unit, so I can cancel out the units. I get 2 out of 36, and now we're going to simplify that. So 1 over 18 is my scale factor. Notice a scale factor is 1 number. A scale is 2 different numbers with the units. All right, let's practice this again. The height of the building in a drawing is 15 inches. Actual is 165 feet. Find the scale factor of the drawing. So scale factor, going to be drawing over actual. Okay, let's put the numbers in the appropriate spot. So height of the building in the drawing is 15 inches. So 15 inches is your drawing. 165 feet is your actual. We have to put them in the same units. Let's put them both in inches. 15 inches is already inches. So let me bring in my calculator. To change that to inches, I'm going to multiply it by 12. And I get 1980. Now they're both in inches, so I'm going to cross them off. I have 15 over 1980. I'm going to see if this simplifies. I'm going to enter this into my calculator as a fraction and hit enter. That will simplify my fraction. And there's my scale factor. Notice again, one number for your scale factor. All right, and the last side is finding missing measures. We're going to find missing measures by using the scale on the map to find the actual distances between city or landmarks. To do this, we're going to write and solve a proportion because the sides are proportional. All right, so let's start with example 1. All right, on a map of Florida, the distance between Coral Springs and Fort Lauderdale is about 4.1 centimeters. Here's the scale of the map. What's the actual distance? Now, in class, we talked about how we're going to set up a little box that shows what two units we're comparing, and I can find that right in the scale. Now we're going to set up a proportion. We know that 1 centimeter is equal to 4.5 kilometers. The other unit they give us is centimeters, so that's going to go on top, and it's asking us for actual distance, and in this case, that's kilometers. So I'm going to cross multiply this. 1 times x is x, and 4.5 times 4.1 gives us 18.45. Now that unit's on the bottom, so that's our kilometers. So my actual distance is 18.45 kilometers. All right, example 2. On a map of North Carolina, the distance between Raleigh and Charlotte is 3 1/4 inches. Here's the scale of the map. We're comparing inches to miles, so what's the actual distance? So inches over miles. 1 inch is 40 miles. The other unit they give us is the 3 1/4. That's inches, so that goes on top. And we're finding the actual distance. So let's cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 40 times 3 1/4. So 40 times 3 1/4 gives us 130. And that would be miles because that's on the bottom. All right, last one I'd like you to try on your own, and then you just, when you're done, hit play and make sure that you have the correct answer. Okay, this one, the map scale is 1 inch over 50 miles, so my units are going to be inches over miles. 1 inch is 50 miles, and the other units, they give us the inches as well, so that goes on the top, x goes on the bottom. Cross multiply, x times 1 is x. 50 times 2 3/4 gives us 137 1/2. And that would be miles. All right, go ahead and try that problem set for homework tonight, and we will go over it in class tomorrow.